This is what I should see on your document. I should see 2, and you guys are most likely single spacing them. Okay. I should see 2 separate arguments. One of them is bolded, one of them is not. The one that's bolded, what's true? It is. Why is one of them bolded?
Because it's your own.
Because that's your own. Now, you need to look at these 2 and decide, eyes up here, time for editing is over. You need to decide which of these 2 is stronger. So maybe you're like, man, I wrote a good argument, but my neighbors is like, they nailed it. In that case, you would put the unbolded neighbors argument on the bottom, because the way it should go is the top one is good, the second one is better. And that way the writing feels like it builds up to a point and it feels more impactful and significant. So right now, look through what you have and decide which one is stronger. Stronger one goes on the bottom. Control X will cut. Control V will then paste it wherever you want it to go. 30 seconds. Do it. No. This is not a discussion. You have to make this choice for yourself. That's why it's only 30 seconds. Decide which one is better. Put the better one on the bottom. Okay, I am now ready to put these 2 together into one paragraph. So I'm going to start that by a topic sentence. What was it that both of these arguments were writing about? They were both writing about one, fill in blank, one theme. So we need to have the author and the title. Where's my writing? I lost my mouse. There we go. Leave her alone. In Homer's The Odyssey. This is the title of a book, so it must be italicized. So hit Control I, and I'm going to unbold it because that is not my neighbor's writing. Joey, enough. You've gone out twice in 2 hours. Stop crying wolf. Then, what is the topic we wrote about? We wrote about the themes. It's clear that, and I'm going to pull the theme. The theme these 2 kids wrote about is deception is morally good if it serves a good purpose. You are going to put title, author, and whatever theme your 2 arguments are focused on. But that's why the 2 arguments have to be focused on the same theme. Does everyone have their topic sentence now? Then I'm going to go to the front of my argument and I'm going to hit backspace or hit delete or hit whatever you want until these 2 become part of one paper. Okay, now I'm going to say there's a little bit of a problem with the first argument here because they have the evidence right at the end. What should the order in an argument be? It should go claim, evidence, commentary at the bottom. So this probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit, maybe reordered, but we'll deal with that later. What do I need to have between my first argument and my second argument? Starts with a T. Transition. Now, a lot of kids are going to use a transition like second or next. Here's why that's a problem. With my little eye, can I spy that this is the second argument? I already know that. So have you given me anything new or interesting. Now, can I tell that this is my next argument? So your transitions, which are supposed to help the reader understand the relationship between the two arguments, aren't really helping me understand anything at all. They're almost like just a formula that's gotten stuck in there. Instead, let's talk about why we put this at the bottom and this at the top. By putting this at the bottom, what are we saying? That this one is better. So my transition has to tell the reader what organizational pattern I chose. And I chose to put that second in the organization because it is more significantly, or more importantly. Or maybe I'm going to put something longer like and even more dramatic example of this is, I have given you 3 options, but if you notice in each case, the transition does the job of telling me that the next argument is going to be better. And that tells me how these arguments are organized, what order they're put in, and it tells the reader that you are putting them in an intentional order to build up to a point. So right now, pick one of those 3 and type it into your paper. Go. Okay. I am going to go for more significantly. Do I care if you pick a different one? No, because they're all doing the job. I'm then going to hit delete until my second argument tucks right up close. Now, I will say this. Let's take a look at the first claim here. In Homer's The Odyssey, it's clear that deception is morally good if it serves a good purpose. Penelope was shown using deception for a justifiable reason. This really works well because the student didn't write the entire theme. If this student had copied the entire theme, we would have had to trim up the claim so that it didn't repeat itself. Okay? So, my first half, Penelope was shown using deception. My second half, more significantly, Athena uses deception for good multiple times. So, do those 2 now work together? Have we joined them? Then we are ready for a closure. And our closure is going to have 3 parts. It's going to have a closing transition. It is going to have a reference to the topic sentence. I do not want to repeat it entirely. I want to reference it. And then it has to have an intensifier. Up front, you tell me that in the book, I'm not sure your parents would agree with this, but this is the Greek lesson being taught. That in the book, deception is morally good if it serves a good purpose. After giving all these examples and all this reasoning, should you feel more or less confident that that's true? More. So by the end, you should be like, yes, absolutely, mic drop moment, told you so. And so you need a word that's going to bring that strength to your closing where you say, absolutely, I told you this was true. Okay? So closing transition. Please do not say in conclusion. It's very trite and overused. But you could say something like in sum. You could say in the final analysis. You could say something like after all the evidence is presented, it's clear that. So your transition can be longer or shorter. I don't care. But do me a favor. Pick one. Type it. We good? Okay, I'm going to keep in the final analysis. That sounds fancy. I then need a reference to the topic sentence. So let me take a look at the topic sentence. I do not want to write the whole thing. I want to reference it. In the final analysis, Homer definitely shows that lying can be a tool for moral justice. Okay. Have I repeated the theme exactly? Is it close enough that you can see the connection?
Yeah.
Then let's take a quick look at this closure. In the final analysis, what part of the three-part closure is that? 1, 2, 3. What is that? That's a closing transition. Definitely. What part of a three-part closure is definitely? Intensifier. What part of a three-part closure is Homer shows that lying can be a tool for moral justice? That is reference to topic sentence. Okay. So, do y'all see how those three parts work together? And once that's done, we get rid of my notes. I can now look at this and say, that looks a lot like a paragraph. This is what an academic paragraph looks like, but I still need to do two things. What do I need to do on that very first line now that it's a real paragraph? I must indent. So hit tab. Let me put my size because I have it bigger just because we're on the board, but you have to keep it like a 10 or 11, 12 at the outside. But the last thing I need to do is I need to double space it. So I'm going to use Control A to make sure I have everything highlighted. I'm going to go up here where it looks like a paragraph, but it has an arrow going up and down to the left side. And it says line spacing, line and paragraph spacing if you hover. I click it and I tell it take everything to double spacing. That is now an academic paragraph. But if you notice, what's in yellow, that's all you have to add to go from an argument to a paragraph. The heart of an academic paragraph are actually the fact that inside you have not one, but two what?
Arguments.
You have two arguments inside. So I am going to change the assignment from theme argument to theme paragraph. I'm going to change the deadline from today till tomorrow, although for a lot of you, are you going to be able to just hit submit?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say the majority of you just get it turned in today. But if you want to take a little bit more time to sort of pretty it up, you can have until tomorrow. But this, and in yellow, like seriously, once you know how to write an argument, how easy is it to write a paragraph? It's stupid easy. The yellow is the only thing that we added to it. So we go